New federal funding for Northern Ontario businesses struggling to cope with U.S. tariffs. Good evening, I'm Ryan Benazzo. Thank you for joining us. Companies across the north now have access to a fund that will be worth at least $38 million. The initiative is meant to help the region's commercial sector weather the costs and uncertainties of the tariffs imposed by the U.S. Thunder Bay's two Liberal MPs were in the city today to celebrate the announcement. Lee Noonan was there.
Small and medium-sized companies looking to diversify the markets they sell in, change their supply chains, or invest in technology to increase their competitiveness in the face of American tariffs can now apply for federal grants through Canada's Regional Tariff Response Initiative. In Northern Ontario, $19 million in grants is available now through FedNor, and Minister Patty Hajdu says that number will soon increase to at least $38 million.
This is a serious time, and it requires a serious response, and regional economic development agencies like FedNor have been empowered to work with the small and medium-sized businesses that are feeling the pinch and at risk of losing business. And ultimately, when you lose business as a small business or a medium-sized business, it puts the success of your entire operation at risk.
Hajdu made the announcement at Thunder Bay Hydraulics, where owner Jamie Crozier says he was recently hit with a $9,000 tariff bill, despite the fact that the hydraulic lifts he exports are exempt.
At first it was like, no, I'm not paying this. It's not my responsibility to pay for it. I've done my homework. I've shipped under a product code that I believe to be customer compliant. So it's a bit of a shock. But I was told that even though products are customer compliant, I need to pay a tariff in terms of the steel content in it.
Crozier says he will definitely be applying to the new grant program. And while the forestry sector is a particular concern in the region, Jamie Taylor, CEO of the Thunder Bay CDC, says there is a wide range of different business types here, all feeling the impact of tariffs differently.
Everybody is feeling this in a different way, whether it's they get supplies from the USA or they're shipping their product to the USA. So I think this is important for all businesses in Thunder Bay.
Thunder Bay Rainy River MP Marcus Pulowski said the unpredictability of U.S. President Donald Trump creates a volatile environment that is challenging for commerce. He hopes this fund will help create stability.
I think the one thing that's predictable in the upcoming years is that we're going to have turbulent times economically.
Unlike the loans the federal government offered to help businesses survive the COVID-19 pandemic, the Tariff Response Initiative funds are non-repayable grants, something Taylor says will minimize the risk to business owners in unpredictable times. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
A $400 million natural gas power plant could be coming to Shunya. An open house was held last night by officials with Current H2, the private company behind the proposed development. More than a dozen people came out to the McGregor Rec Centre to find out more about it. The company says the project in Shunya came in response to the Independent Electricity System Operator's request for proposals for a 200-megawatt peaker station in this region. The plant, which would be located north of Highway 1117 on McGregor Road, would supply extra power to the grid during peak usage times. Current H2 co-founder John Douglas says the plant would initially be powered by natural gas, but is designed to be converted to hydrogen in the future.
Well, the system operator has identified this area of Ontario as needing 600 additional megawatts of peaker capacity. So we've been sort of driving around Ontario looking for spots, and we found one here. It's natural gas initially, but as we've designed the facility to be hydrogen ready, so when hydrogen is ready in abundance for a reasonable cost, we would be able to convert to hydrogen. Hydrogen is already available in Europe, and so we think it's only time before it's available here.
The company will present its proposal to Shunya Council next week. If it's selected and approved by the IESO next June, Douglas says the plant could begin construction in the summer of 2027 and be ready to produce power in 2028. The demolition of Victoriaville Mall is nearing the end of the first stage, and onlookers can now see nearly all the way down Victoria Avenue. The 45-year-old roof is mostly gone between Archibald Street and Brodie Street, but there's still a large section on Syndicate to remove. Justin Hardy has the story.
The demolition of Victoriaville Mall has made a lot of progress over the summer, with all but roughly 8 feet of structure left over Victoria Avenue. The city's capital facilities construction manager, Kelvin Jankowski, says that, while a little delayed, progress for the teardown has been steady.
We're a couple weeks behind, that we haven't slipped further than that. One of the trickier demolitions is going to take place soon, which is the crosswalk, the walkway on the second floor, where the old elevator was. That's going to start after this portion's done. They're removing some pieces by hand right now, but that's going to be a trickier one. It's going to slow it down a little bit, but that will be the last large piece of structure that comes down.
Jankowski says the teardown has offered much spectacle for people living or working in that area, including the uncovering of some local history. Several residents have posted photos of this vintage McCartney Jewelers sign that has been hidden behind the Victoriaville roof since the 1970s.
I saw a video online as well, and I think the most interesting part of that video was when that claw reached over and ripped the Victoriaville sign off, and that was the most interesting thing I saw. But yeah, if you look at some of the old buildings, there are some signs of tailors and other businesses that no longer exist. A nice look back in history.
Jankowski adds that work on the project will continue as long as possible this year before picking up with road rehabilitation work in the spring.
They do plan to shut down construction for the winter and then restart the road portion in spring. They're going to continue to work on the building facades towards Christmas until it gets too cold. They'll get those mostly buttoned up by then. Again, there's some slack in the schedule just because it's dead of winter and there's not a lot they can do until frost is out of the ground and they can start ripping up the road.
Justin Hardy, TBT News.
2 men from Blind River face a slew of charges after a police chase in Pikmo on Tuesday. Anishinaabeg police say the suspects were in a BMW when officers tried to pull them over at a ride check. The driver took off at high speed before plunging the car into White Lake. The 2 men were arrested after swimming to shore. A Glock 22 handgun with the serial number defaced was recovered from the scene, loaded with 5 hollow point bullets. The suspects, aged 28 and 21, face numerous charges, including obstructing a peace officer and carrying a concealed weapon. Thunder Bay police have arrested 4 people for drug trafficking. 2 of the accused, a 57-year-old and a 45-year-old, are from Thunder Bay. They've also charged a 61-year-old from Brooks, Alberta, and a 49-year-old from Mississauga. 2 were arrested in a Memorial Avenue parking lot. The other 2 suspects were apprehended while officers searched 3 homes on Macker Avenue, Windsor Street, and Crossbow Street. Police seized about $116,000 worth of cocaine, crack cocaine, and fentanyl, as well as more than $15,000 in cash. All 4 have been remanded into custody after court appearances earlier today. Students at Bishop Gallagher School learned an important lesson yesterday about making positive choices and staying away from gangs. The Thunder Bay Police Community Inclusion Team hosted a presentation featuring a woman who joined the Indian Posse gang in her youth and spent 20 years in jail as a result. Emma Chilton reports.
Grade 7 and 8 students gathered for a special presentation aimed at gang prevention, featuring motivational speaker Tanya Ross. She shared personal stories and powerful messages about the dangers of gang involvement.
To that youth that's going through, peer pressure of joining a gang or coming from, a broken home that's separated, or just dealing with the things that we deal with today, the pressure, that they're not alone. And they don't have to waste their life. They don't have to go to prison for 20 years to change their life.
Organizers say the event is part of a broader effort to give students the tools they need to make safe decisions during their teenage years. The media relations coordinator for Thunder Bay Police, Matt Viz, says the presentation really needs to resonate with the kids.
It's a really important opportunity for us to bring somebody in who has lived experience that can share that perspective with students and can really talk to them in a way that police officers can't. And I think you saw from Tanya's presentation today just how impactful that was, how inspiring it was, and just her being authentic and how that resonates with the students.
Bishop Gallagher students Chikamara Ibunye and Matthew Dean share their thoughts on Ross's experiences.
And I like how she didn't remove parts of it, and she made it like straight, like as straight as it was. She just said it how it was, and it was pretty touching. And I like how she found a better way, and she found good people, because not everybody has good people at the end.
Never heard a story about someone being in a gang, but it's nice to hear that someone has turned out better than they did.
Students left the assembly inspired after Ross encouraged them to look beyond the pressures of gangs and instead focus on their goals and the future they want to build. Emma Chilton, TBT News.
The annual Vox Popular Media Arts Festival got underway last night at the old Cinema 5 Theatre. The event is mainly a showcase of independent films, but festival director Adrian Harpel says it's a real multimedia show.
Yeah, so this year is our 21st year. This is a film festival, but it's also much more than that. We have this art show, all the art that you see around me, and then we just had a musical performance that starts off each night.
Cassidy Houston kicked off opening night, followed by a screening of 12 short and longer films from multiple genres. Harpel says they put a bigger focus on locally produced films this year with plenty of premieres, but they have films from around the world. When audiences see it all together, Harpel says it shows that our local film industry is on par with anywhere else. There was a good-sized turnout last night, even with all the construction outside the venue, the Definitely Superior Art Gallery on Cumberland Street.
There's a bit of construction outside, but you can walk around it, and we are able to get here. It's a little harder for me running things back and forth to this venue. You know, I have to drive around a lot, but it is what it is. It's Thunder Bay, it's the summer still, so it's construction season.
Vox Popular continues tonight and Saturday, starting at 6:30. Well, the big Navy ship at the Pool 6 dock was the site of a Marine career fair for area high school students today. The event aimed to show young people that the skills they learn in school can lead to opportunities at sea. The students got a unique look at life in the Navy as they boarded the Arctic patrol ship HMCS Margaret Brooke. The sailors shared their personal experiences with the teenagers and explained the wide variety of career paths available. Commander Terry Scher notes there are over 100 different occupations in the armed forces.
So I would say it's so important. Not only are we in a personnel crisis with respect to the Royal Canadian Navy for sure, we really need to start bringing in new talent and new amazing individuals into the ranks. But also Thunder Bay really doesn't get to see a Royal Canadian Navy ship very often. I think it's been until the early 2010s since we were last here. So we just like to remind Thunder Bay, people of Thunder Bay that, you know, we exist and it's an amazing career option for anybody.
The free public tours of the Margaret Brooke are set for tomorrow and Sunday from 11 to 5, but there's no parking at the Pool 6 dock, so people are advised to take the shuttles from the community auditorium. All right, well, let's turn our attention to the weather now. And Fiona, it was another day that was a little bit cooler than we've perhaps grown accustomed to over the last week and a half or so.
Well, the beginning of September was very cool, very gray, very wet. Then we had a heat wave, and now we're back to what is actually fall-like weather, 15 Celsius, and mostly to partly cloudy skies for much of the day. Now, we did have a very mild overnight low of 10. Remember, at this time of year, we should be comfortably in the single digits, so it was nice and mild. Winds were a little bit cool, though, from the east, so for the most part off the lake, 17 to 22 kilometers per hour, but in the afternoon we did see gusts up to 36 kilometers an hour. Now, if we take a look what's going on across the region at this hour, looks fairly consistent, but that wasn't the case last night. Up into Armstrong and Greenstone, it was very, very cool. Armstrong hit the freezing mark. Greenstone stayed a little warmer. They had a low of 2, but they're back into the mid to low teens under loads of sunshine. We've got mostly cloudy skies in Sault Ste. Marie at 19. They actually topped out at 20, so folks are probably enjoying that right now. Along the Northeastern Shores, Marathon at 15, Wawa matching that, 17 in Nipigon, and heading further west, nothing but cloud at this hour, but they have had some periods of rain in Fort Francis. Red Lake had a low of 6 overnight. They're currently at their high of 17 under mostly cloudy skies. As we take a look for Thunder Bay tonight, we are going to slip into those single digits, but still a little bit higher than we normally see, a low of 9, partly cloudy skies, and winds will continue to be off the lake from the east, but for the most part, fairly light. We start out at about 20 km for the next couple of hours, but once it starts to get dark, it's going to drop down to about 10 kilometers per hour, and that's going to set the stage for what is a really great celebration kickoff to Culture Days in Thunder Bay. This evening at the marina, the long-awaited second day of the Under the Lights event. It is the drone light show that will start at 9:30 p.m. this evening. This is the one that was canceled back at the end of August. Now, if you saw this the other night of light show, this is actually a different show altogether. The two nights were always intended to have different visuals in the sky. So head out to Marina Park, and doesn't matter where you are, all you have to do is look up. Every location is the best seat in the house, and always an issue with parking in that area, but there is a free shuttle service from the Thunder Bay Community Auditorium between 6 and 11 p.m. for all of the activities going on. But the drone light show, I think, is something that's going to be really fun for the whole family. And since the skies are going to be looking pretty good, we're not going to have to worry about rain. The wind is going to start to taper off. I think it's just going to make for the perfect evening out for the family and free of charge.
Yeah, that is all good news. I know seeing the visuals of the last time when they had the drone show, pretty impressive and really a great way to say goodbye to the summer as fall fast approaches. And Fiona, today, I'm sure today wasn't the first day, but today was the first day that I really noticed the changing leaves all over the ground. So it really started to feel like fall, to me at least today.
Well, I hope they have a good turnout tonight, because this is definitely going to be worth checking out.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.